Communicating key dates to your client is absolutely critical for two main reasons. The first one is that it helps you to manage risk and liability to your firm, and the second one is that it helps to set clear expectations to your clients so you can forge stronger relationships with them. So what most firms do is when they onboard a client, they will typically list out all of the services, there will be a start date of that engagement, and it is assumed that you will start all of those services on that date, but that's not necessarily true. Let's say, for example, something like payroll, that client might continue to run payroll themselves for another month. And let's say, for example, something like VAT returns, their previous accountant might be fulfilling this quarter's VAT return and you're actually going to start it next quarter. Now, the reason that's really important to communicate those start dates to the client is, number one, they know when they're going to start paying for that service, but also they know and you know when you're going to take responsibility for that service as well. Because let's say that client made a mistake with their payroll in January, or let's say their previous accountant made a filing mistake with their VAT returns, it's very clear to see when you took over responsibility for that service, so you're not now liable for somebody else's mistake. That's the first thing, and that helps you to fulfill your compliance and regulatory obligations and managing risk to your firm. But key dates can also be used for something else as well. They can be used to set clear expectations about when they need to provide information to you and also when key filing deadlines are. This helps to improve efficiencies in your firm and helps to create stronger relationships with your clients. So for each service, you could be articulating exactly when the deadline for information is and when that filing deadline is, based around simple rules. Now, creating something like this and putting it into every single client engagement, I think you'll agree, is absolutely valuable. However, this can take a lot of time to establish. And because it takes so much time, if a firm doesn't have the resources to do that, they may overlook this and hope for the best. So, what we've created in Go Proposal is our new key dates feature. What this allows you to do is establish some very simple rules around key dates for every single service you provide. You can establish what the rule is for that start date. You can also establish rules around when the deadline for information should be, as well as the filing deadline. You can base these on internal processes and rules that you have within your firm, or on statutory rules about when information needs to be filed for those specific services. Then, as you're producing a proposal in real time whilst you're still in front of the client, all of those dates are pre-populated for you, and with the input of some simple information around key dates that's specific to your client, such as what their VAT quarter is, what the frequency of their payroll might be, when their confirmation statement is due, you can input these rules and instantly the table is created for you to discuss with your client. You need that there and then for you to be able to articulate what they need to do and by when, and also what the consequences might be. You might have a service that you provide, and if they don't hit that deadline for information, there could be penalties for that client. But if you've not communicated that to the client, how can you expect them to understand it and what their responsibility is in the fulfillment of that service? If there's any tweaks that need to be made to those dates, they can be created on the fly, and the instant you've agreed those, they are there live in the engagement letter that they can sign on the spot and send out to them. This is not just helping you to fulfill your compliance and regulatory obligations. As I say, this is helping you to set clear expectations with your clients. This is not just about managing the risk to your firm, this is about managing the risk to that relationship, because by clearly communicating these key dates, you are putting everything out on the table, there is no surprises, it improves efficiencies in your firm and improves, strengthens and lengthens that client relationship. Key dates in Go Proposal, done.